Okay, this is February 27, 2020. This is Uncle Tommy, Nathaniel, and Tommy, can you tell us about what you remember about our family?
Yeah, because when we were little, we used to travel up to i- my father's place of birth, up by where the cattle ranch is located. What's the name of that camp?
Waino?
Right. And we used to go every weekend up there to see his family. But we were young, we didn't know anything that time. So we didn't even ask questions or anything because most of the time we were sleeping
Back in the old days.
in the old days. Then later on, found out that one day my father told me where he was born. I mean, actually, up on a village when he was a young boy too. But he didn't mention too much of his family. Like a lot of the family that we have is lost because they didn't speak anything about their family. But you go back to history, I found out that our last name is supposed to be Naoli,
Not Nakanaela,
no Naoli,
Naioli.
right?
Okay.
And Naoli is the one that trained King Kamehameha #1 to be a warrior. So
Okay.
in other words, we're related to Kamehameha too,
Oh,
through Naoli.
Naioli was the chief of Kohala.
Right? That's where they in Kohala, right? Because when I was a tour driver, when you used to stop at Naleo with the tourists, the Hawaiians over there used to come up to me and call me Naoli. And I asked my mother, your grandmother, whatever, and she said something, yeah, that our last name is supposed to be Naoli.
Naioli.
Naoli.
Yeah. He was the chief of Kohala, right?
Chief,
The Ali'i.
he was possible Ali too. And the king of Kau also was a relative of our family too.
You know his name?
I forgot his name now. But if you go in a national park, there's footprints where he and Kamehameha had a battle. So they call it the footprint trail. And he was related to our family also. And Kamehameha, how he lost the battle is because Pele was a good friend of Kamehameha. So he got killed. That's why all that footprints is located there. He tried to get away from the lava.
So our last name should be Naiole instead of Nathaniel.
Right.
And how you know why it was changed?
Oh, well, I was told by Auntie, what's the name? She was married to Matsu, but relative to us. And she's the one that told us, well, we talked to her one time, and she said, the way she thought it was, It's the missionaries. It's the one that turned our last name into English because they couldn't pronounce Naoli. I don't know why. It's so simple. So that's the only story I heard about that. Why? Because of the missionaries.
Yeah.
Like everything else, the missionaries turned the Hawaiian people upside down. And we do have a big family, as everybody knows, here in Hilo. The Nathaniels and the Brown family are all connected. Because the Auntie Annie used to be next door to Uncle Zinny's or Daddy Zinny, whatever,
Harry. Uncle.
house next door.
Yeah.
And she did own a lot of land in Kurdistown,
That's where my dad was born, in Kurdistown. What year were you born?
1929,
Okay. So you're 90 years old.
90 years old now.
90 years young.
Yeah, changed it after the young women.
Kolohe again.
Yeah, Koloe. Even now it's called me Koloe.
So you and I are part of the lost generation where
Right,
we couldn't speak Hawaiian.
right, because the missionaries made a law that our generation won't learn the Hawaiian language. So we got lost in a way. So now a lot of the young Hawaiians is learning Hawaiian now. And they speak it fluid. They teach it even in the schools, which is good that they learn the language so it won't die off. If you read the history about the missionaries, they did a lot of things to the Hawaiian people instead of helping them.
Well, they came over to do good and they
Right.
did exceptionally well.
They told you to look up to heaven and you look down, no more land. So that's why a lot of missionaries had a lot of land here. It goes way back. And so a lot of the Hawaiian people say they look up and now they look down, no land. There were 4 Kamehameha kings that ruled the islands. But number 1 is the one that unified the islands together. But the only island that he didn't conquer was the island of Kauai. The king of that island gave up the island to Kamehameha because he didn't want his warriors to be killed. Because he got word that Kamehameha was ready to invade the island of Kauai.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had my total brothers and sisters. We had 7 boys and 5 girls. So we had a large family. And my mother and father adopted 2 by the name of Paniku, a boy and girl too, which lived with us also. And they were our cousins, actually. In
So they were Hanai to your
Hanai,
mom.
the Hawaiian called Hanai, the adoption. So my parents told us to take them as a brother and sister, which we did.
And you are the last of
I'm the last of my side of the family.
Daniel.
Daniel, number 1. There's 3 Daniels right now. 2 of them is still no. There's only 1 of them living. 2 of them passed away. My father and my brother. They call him Baby Dan.
Was he the oldest?
He was oldest. Well, my sister,
He was the oldest boy.
boy, right? We had my sister was the first child, but nobody seen her because she died when she was young. So my brother Baby Dan was the oldest. And what was funny, when I went to school, my teacher asked me in high school, "Are you the last Nathaniel?" I said, "No, there were three under me." And she said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, there are three under me, you had three boys." She said, "Oh my goodness. How many children?" I said, 12. But we all got along together. All the Nathaniels always did get together.
I remember every New Year's we would go up to you guys' house and
Yeah, the party, Luau.
yeah, that was always fun. So
Yeah, we always had luau's at New Year's at the house.
that was sort of a tradition. I
Right.
remember going there every year.
All the families would get together over there.
Burn firecracker.
See, when we were brought up too, we were raised with my uncles how to kill pig and dress the pig, make laus, pound poi. The cousin Apo and I was the only one that pounded poi, not the rest.
Why is that?
Because we were the naughty ones, that's why they made us do that. No, but I got the poi pounder at home that I use. And it's available today. A lot of people is looking for old poi pounders. And you can get good money for it.
There, I think we saw one that was selling for $1,000.
About that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sell mine. I told my son, don't sell it.
Do you have the board?
No, the board cracked.
Oh,
So I had to throw it away. But it was fun. I'm glad that I learned a lot of things. Because when I was in the service and the island boys wanted to make luau, I was the only one that knew how. And I had to teach the boys what to do.
you made your own kalua pig?
Color pig, everything. Make the poke. Even that, sometimes we make laus. Especially when we station in the Philippines, we had Air Force pilots from the islands, so we tell them we leave poi, they go back to Hawaii, pick up salt salmon from Japan. Not only over there, even the mainland, we had luau's. But the only trouble, the outer island people, boys know more about the Hawaiian way of living than from Honolulu, Oahu. They didn't know beans. And they're the ones that they wanted to luau everything, and then I had a hard time explaining to them what to do. But they wouldn't listen.
Tell me about your dad.
Yeah, my father was head of the tax office here on the island of Hawaii. And he lasted to 30 years before they forced him to retire, which he didn't want to. But he saved a lot of people, homes, land. A lot of them said they couldn't pay the land taxes or the house also. And he would tell them only pay $5 a month till they catch up whatever they owe. That's why I found out that's why a lot of people was, his name was really good in Hilo because what he did to save their land and homes. Not one nation, all kind of nation he saved. Because people told me about him too.
Do you know anything about his dad? Your father's dad?
Well, I was little, so I don't remember.
No, okay.
Because we were the young ones, the four of us, the young ones, was always traveling with my father to his home. So we didn't know anything at that time. I wish I knew, so I can tell you people more about it. But I know he's from Ka'u. That's where he was born.
The family came from Waihino?
Waiohino.
Yeah. And they lived up in Curtistown for a while?
Yeah, right around there too, Kurdistown. Then they moved into Hilo. Like my mother was raised in Puwell, across the first bridge. Like I seen my grandmother and grandfather when I was little. Up to 5 years, and then I kind of remember seeing both of them till they passed away. And my grandmother would march us from there to the church every Sunday. We had to go walk down there, meet her, and then she could take us to the church, the Haile. And she only spoke Hawaiian to us, which we couldn't understand. We asked Grandma, what you talking about? Yeah, so every Sunday we know what we're going to have after church. Stew and poi. It's a tradition every Sunday that we had.
Kanaka stew.
And on my mother's side, there were 4 boys and 5 girls.
A lot of big families.
Right. Now I'm gonna tell you folks a little story what my mother told me too. One day, all the uncles were swimming by the first bridge, and all of a sudden a big storm came out, and one of the sharks went in between one of my uncle's legs and lifted him up and brought him toward shore. And they knew something was going to happen, so they all came on land, and all of a sudden had a big storm. So in other words, our whole family is on the shark family too.
Oh, okay.
That's why my mother always told us not to be afraid of the sharks. Because it's family. And my father's side is Pele, the fire goddess. So he always tell me, don't worry about the volcano area too. Except I had one incident too with a tourist. My bus was running and it wouldn't move. So I knew what would happen. So I told the tourists, anybody got a pork sandwich or pork with them? And the ladies put her in. I have one. I said, throw it out of the window. And the bus moved after that. And the people asked me, what happened? I said, you won't believe it if I tell you. But these are the things that we learn too. Because a lot of things my father saw too, he told me the experience that he had riding around the island, inspecting all the tax office, different towns. And he said, you don't cost enough pee on the car, and the car will go again. But I just cuss, and things happen to me. And it happened a lot of times too. Things you wouldn't believe.
A lot of it is just respect.
Yeah,
You gotta respect nature.
respect. The worst incident I had, I was leaving Kono, coming Todd Hill at 1 o'clock in the morning. And coming down the hill with the bus, all I saw is red blood flowing down the hill as I was going down. Naturally, I felt funny. And I told nobody gonna kill me. I started cussing too. And I went home. The next day I told my mother about it. She said, you did a good thing. At least you learned something from your father. Even though you koloi. So you gotta respect the elderly, you know,
That's you and me.
right? That's Zinny and I, the last of the Nathaniels tribe.
Yeah. You're the last of your family, and I'm the last of my family.
Right.
So
We're not getting any younger.
I don't know about you.
They call me the naughty one.
You're not naughty. You just go loy.
Yeah, when the family know I coming home, they say, oh, not him.
You're the life of the party.
Right. Yeah, like when Uncle Conrad was at the hospital, when I walked in, everybody said, oh, not that uncle.
That was nice though when everybody got together.
Yeah, it was nice. There were a lot of singing and everything at Uncle's bedside.
Mm-hmm.
He probably heard it, so
I'm glad you made it back before he passed
right.
away.
I made it back home. Glad to see Zinny too. We're the last Mohicans.